Donald Trump is panicking, and he's now calling for a U.S. ground invasion of Kharg Island. Moments ago, he posted the following message. He writes that the United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense together with the most offensive capability are gone. Very hard tonight at some point in the not-too-distant future. We will be taking Kharg Island and all other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump. He then rushed to go on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, and they were asking him about blowing up water facilities and this ground invasion. And he just responded by saying the 2020 election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. I'll get to that in a moment. But, Donald Trump's been panicking, and so has the United States military, as we're now getting confirmation, visual confirmation, despite CENTCOM and the Trump regime's cover-up, that a U.S. long-range radar stationed at the Jabal al-Duncan in Bahrain remains ablaze right now. You can see right here this billion-dollar radar system now destroyed as a result of Iran's retaliatory strikes. You can see right here, look on the hill in the back, you can see that radar completely obliterated. Also, now that we're seeing the video and the visuals, country of Jordan got seriously hit in the morning. It looks like U.S. assets were hit there as well, major U.S. assets. As this one account says, look, the U.S. is saying Iranian missiles hit nothing important. But when you're seeing in this video over there, and we'll show you the B-roll, is Iranian missiles striking today show how 3 out of the 4 missiles penetrated the Patriot defenses and hit a key U.S. airbase over there in Jordan. So the Al Salt Air Base in Jordan was hit. The Ahmed Al-Jabbar Air Base in Kuwait was hit. The Ali Al-Salem Air Base in Kuwait was hit. The U.S. 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain was hit. And the Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain was hit. Also, Iran now has fully set up major defenses around Kharg Island, as CNN reports. Iran spent months preparing for this ground invasion that Trump is now threatening. After U.S. strikes in March, Iran reinforced the island with additional troops, air defenses, and shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles, those man-pads. We know that I think China gave a lot of that technology to Iran as well. It also deployed anti-personnel and anti-armor mines, including along beaches where U.S. forces might land. So Donald Trump then calls state regime media to start spreading his threat that he's going to do a ground invasion. But then he also says, I want to do it tonight. I also think Iran wants to make a deal, but Iran loves the press they're getting. I'll show you this in a moment. He goes, Iran loves that they're getting such positive press. They have like great PR people in the United States. And so I speak to Iran all the time. They want to do a deal, but they love the press. He says that's one of the big issues. He also says, look, I want to do the invasion of Kharg Island tonight, but the American people, they can't stomach it. So I want to do it. I want invasion. American people, they're scared. So that's what I'm weighing right now. It's utterly deranged. But here, when he's asked about bombing water facilities in Iran, Trump goes on this bonkers rant, as Rupert puts it, about rigged elections. Just even the way, though, state regime media, Fox, tries to frame the softball to him, though, they're just like, so this is all part of your 5-dimensional chess, right? You knock out the water facility to send a message that we're not playing right. You're talking about war crimes, blowing up water facilities, the bloodlust on these horrible humans. You're blowing up water facilities so that people can't drink water, the people of Iran, and then you think that the people are going to support you? That makes sense to you? I guess if you're regime media, that's what you think. Here, let's play this clip.
One of the hits yesterday, as our audience probably knows, is on a water facility. They were already running out of water. So if you can continue to blockade, and now you're taking down their eyes and ears, you're letting them know you're not playing games. And the rhetoric that's been coming out of them for the last 8 weeks really looks hollow today.
Well, Brian, if you can hear me, I think you can.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I will say that, first of all, you mentioned 2020. You're right, in 2020, I got more votes than anybody in history, Republican Party, and we got more votes, but the election was rigged. But in 2024, I really got more. We made it too big to rig. And but we did great in 2020. It was a rigged election.
Then Trump goes, look, we could walk in there tomorrow. It'll be easy. We walk into Kharg. We set with just a small group of soldiers. They're finished. They're done. Their navy's destroyed. Their military's destroyed. They got nothing. They got nothing. We fly over Tehran every night. The guy lies about everything. When the U.S. is conducting these strikes, what we've seen that it seems that they're doing, the U.S. is hitting certain radar in the Strait of Hormuz because Trump's plan is that he thinks if you knock out some of the Iranian radar, some of the cargo ships and tankers, they can turn off their tracking systems and then try to sneak out in the middle of the night. And Trump brags like, we got out 100 million barrels of oil since the war began. Okay, that's like 3 days and how it normally is. That's not a brag. It's like when Donald Trump boasts about China's buying 12 million metric tons of soy. Look at the deal I did. Yeah, without any of this chaos, they were buying 28 million metric tons under former President Biden. Trump just hopes that people conflate millions, billions, trillions, and it's all just like, and he just keeps on saying it. So you're like, good job, Donald. Anyway, let me show you what he says. Let's play it.
We only have a minute left, but will there be more bombing tonight?
Yeah, there will be more bombing tonight. It'll be bigger, more powerful. Don't forget, we've knocked out all of their anti-aircraft. They don't have any they have nothing. I mean, they may get lucky with a shoulder weapon or something, but for the most part, they have no defense.
What did the representative say in your phone call with them?
Excuse me. They're finished. But the papers, the media refuses to write it. They're finished. We can walk in there tomorrow. We could take soldiers. I don't want to have boots on the ground, but if I wanted to, we could put a small group of soldiers and take over the whole place. They're finished. And the media is crooked.
Then he says, I don't know if America has the appetite to do what we need to do. So now he's scapegoating the American people for why he's frozen and why he just needs to just get the hell out of there, man. Take the U.S. military and leave. Try to enter into a deal that resembles as much as possible the Obama JCPOA deal. It's going to have to be weaker now because you lost the war, but then get out of there. Get out. Let's play this clip.
It's like an anaconda. You're slowly you'll talk to them, but you're slowly squeezing them to death.
Yeah. I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd sort of like, I'd like to get a deal now, less than 3 or 4 weeks ago, because, once you do this, you could just go a step further. But I don't know that America has the appetite to do what I would really much prefer doing. You remember in Iraq, I said, don't go in, but they went in. They made a big mistake. It should have never lasted. That war lasted 10 years, killed tens of thousands of people, millions of people on both sides, millions of people. Nobody ever reported that.
Let me tell you, if there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after drinks with friends, it's with pre-alcohol. Look, I'm not 21 anymore. If I have a night out, I still want to be productive the next morning, and that's why I started using this. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking, and here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I was honestly skeptical at first, but I tried it before going out to dinner with friends, and the next morning I was getting up early, but I was feeling good, getting work done, no problem. Now it's just part of the routine anytime I know that drinks are involved. From the crack of the bat at the stadium to the start of wedding season and the roar of the engines in Indy, May is packed with back-to-back reasons to be out. Don't let a rough morning after keep you on the sidelines. Drink pre-alcohol to stay ahead of it and make the most of every Saturday this month. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use code Meidas at checkout for 15% off. That's MEIDAS.
And then Trump says they're dying to make a deal. The Iranians, they want to make a deal so badly. He goes, we dropped $250 million of bombs on them last night. So that's where our money's going. The money that could be going to healthcare, that could be going to helping people in the United States afford things. You're just dropping $250 million of bombs a night and not changing anything. That makes sense to you? Let's play this clip.
The, publicity they have is incredible. It's almost like they're doing well and they're getting decimated, and they're dying to make a deal. They want to make a deal so badly. But, you read the New York Times and you read the Wall Street Journal, which is so fake. I mean, I know you guys own it, but it's a real piece of garbage. And you read the Wall Street Journal, it's like they did an editorial today about we're not hitting them hard enough. I mean, it's just not hitting them hard enough. We dropped $250 million worth of bombs on them last night. The whole thing is crazy. And they're really in submission. They just don't know it yet. Okay, to be honest with you, they just don't know it yet.
And then Trump goes, it could be the greatest deal in history. It could be the best deal ever. And he goes, but at the end of the day, they could say, praise be to Allah, but I'll still get criticized for the deal. I'll still get called out for the deal. Here's what he says. Let's play it.
Mr. President, so I get the impression that you're frustrated with Iran.
I'm not frustrated. I don't get frustrated.
Well, I'll say it this way, that it's almost an ultimatum now, that there's no more negotiation at this point. You went back and forth with them. You gave them 2 weeks, and now they have to take the deal that you have offered them, that you tried to negotiate in good faith, or everything goes and the people can be liberated. Is that what's happening right now?
Well, that could happen if we want to keep going. And, the deal is a very good deal. The problem with the deal is that it could be the greatest deal in history. They could wave the white flag of surrender. They could say, we surrender, we're finished, we've had it. The United States is the greatest power. Praise be to Allah. And they could do all of this. They could say it loud and clear, and the fake news would say it was a great victory for Iran. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. We're killing them. It's killing them. They have no Navy. They have no Air Force. They have no anti-aircraft. We're flying planes over the middle of Tehran.
And then he says, I can't believe the press they're getting. They're getting such great press. Let me show you this clip right here. Let's play it.
Behind the scenes, I will tell you, they won't even dispute it, although they probably would because it makes sense. They're very good. Iran is very good at publicity, but they're not good at fighting. But I took a look, and I must tell you, they can't believe the press they're getting. They can't even believe it. Yeah. And they told me, they said, it's amazing how well we're doing in the papers. We're not doing so well. They're negotiating with us to make a deal.
Well, Mr. President,
it's hard for them because they are proud. They're very proud.
We know
been the bully. They've been the bully of the Middle East for 47 years.
Yeah, they have.
They've been ripping off our presidents and other countries for years. They played Obama for a fool. The JCPOA is one of the worst deals I've ever seen, other than NAFTA, the NAFTA trade deal, which was maybe the worst deal ever made.
Mr. President.
But the JCPOA was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a road to no nuclear weapon.
Right.
They can't have a nuclear. It says you cannot have a nuclear weapon. We will not have. And I didn't like it. It wasn't strong enough because it said develop. You cannot develop. I said, no, I want buy also. So they fought me on that for a day, and then they agreed to it. You cannot develop or purchase a nuclear weapon. So we got everything, but the press just covers it so crazily. They
don't worry about it.
No matter what I do, the press will say it was a great victory for Iran. These people are crazy.
Mr. President.
It's Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, Mr. President, I agree with Brian. Don't worry about it. Our viewers are watching Fox, and so they see this coverage. They're not reading the New York Times. But we know that you've destroyed their air defense systems, their radar.
Let me just cue you in on other dynamics at play right now. So European Union's number 2, Kaja Kallas, who's their chief foreign policy leader in the EU, having direct discussions right now with Foreign Minister Araghchi of Iran, because everybody knows, the U.S. can't be relied on for everything. So Europe involved in bilateral conversations with Iran. Also, the UAE, which has been one of like the United States' staunchest allies in the region. They entered into those Abraham Accords with Israel, and they've come under attack from Iran. And they, were someone who was always like, all right, we trust the U.S. security umbrella, even while other Arab nations have been giving up on it. The UAE and Iran had their first high-level face-to-face security meeting since the U.S. and Israel war against Iran began, signaling a move towards easing tensions after months of conflict. Despite viewing Iran as a regional threat, the UAE is increasingly prioritizing stability to protect its economy, financial sector, tourism industry, and major investments in oil and AI infrastructure. Iran has also an interest in improving its ties with the UAE. So Iran is further strengthening its cards and its position while the U.S. is out there weakening it. One more point I want to make. One of Iran's senior officials, a direct aide to the Ayatollah, Moshe Razi, writes, "The unhinged U.S. president imagined that bombs can get him out of the quagmire he himself created, but Iranian missiles will sink him even deeper into it. Washington must choose between accepting Iran's terms and losing the last shed of its credibility in the world." MB Ghalibaf, Iran's lead negotiator, posting, "Wrong strategies and impulsive decisions will reset the entire board for the worse, explode energy infrastructure and markets, and create an endless quagmire that you will be stuck in for years. You will see a different Iran." While CENTCOM, U.S. CENTCOM, right, once the strongest military entity out there, something that would always be a sober and serious voice. This is what they just posted. "The Strait of Hormuz remains open for transit." Strait of Hormuz is open. It's not open. And it is so embarrassing. That Admiral Brad Cooper, who runs CENTCOM, shame on that guy. Shame on that guy. While all of this is taking place, the Producer Price Index, PPI, rose 1.1% month over month. PPI, that means the wholesale inflation, is now 6.5% year over year. 6.5% more this year than last year. Then that gets passed on to consumers. So while we see CPI, consumer inflation, 4.2%, right? PPI, which is kind of an indicator of where CPI is going, is increasing about 1.1% every month. So what does that mean? That means at this rate, PPI by the end of the year could be close to 7%, maybe more. Maybe 8% rather, if it's 1% a month, PPI can be 10%, 12% by the end of this year. And what does that mean for inflation? That means inflation can be 6%. You could have 6% inflation, CPI inflation, and like 12% PPI. That's where this chart is going. And then by the end of Trump's term, we could be looking at, if this doesn't reverse, we could be looking at 12, 15, 20 Argentina style inflation. And that shouldn't be a shocker when Trump and Javier Milei and these guys, this is what they do. This is what they do, but that's where this is headed. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.